Hey, you're back. Welcome to BlushPoint. I write these stories myself, and they're kind of like romantic anime daydreams. Some people use them to fall asleep, some just listen to feel stuff. Either way, you're safe here. Tonight's story? It's so adorable. You're gonna love him. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. The bus ride was long, filled with the murmur of classmates and the low hum of the engine. You'd signed up for the art history field trip, hoping for inspiration, a break from the usual campus routine. The sprawling museum loomed before you, a grand building promising endless corridors of art. Your professor, a whirlwind of enthusiasm, gave a brief introduction before setting everyone loose. The crowd surged forward, a sea of faces all eager to see the masterpieces within. You found yourself drawn to a quieter hallway, away from the main throng. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, illuminating the polished floors. You drifted, letting your feet guide you, stopping to admire a sculpture here, a landscape there. The low hum of conversation faded as you moved deeper into the museum's labyrinthine layout. It wasn't intentional, this separation. One minute you were vaguely aware of your classmates' voices, the next you were alone, surrounded by silent canvases and the hushed whispers of other solitary viewers. A sense of peaceful solitude washed over you. This was nice, you thought, a chance to truly absorb the art, to let it speak to you without the distraction of academic chatter. You rounded a corner and there it was, the painting. It seemed to glow, pulling you closer with its vibrant colors. This would be a good place to stop for a while, you thought, and lose yourself. The painting was a riot of color, a swirling vortex of blues, oranges, and golds. At its center, a single koi, scales shimmering, battled against a torrent of painted water. The artist had captured the fish's determination perfectly, its body arched with effort, its eye fixed on some distant, unseen goal. You stood mesmerized, lost in the details. The water seemed to move, the light to shift. It was more than just a painting. It was a story of resilience, of beauty born from struggle, of forging your own path against the current. You thought of your own life, the challenges you faced, the dreams you held. The koi became a symbol, a reminder to keep swimming, no matter how strong the current. The vibrant colors seemed to pulse with life, drawing you deeper into the scene. You imagined the cool rush of the water, the feel of it against your skin. You could almost hear the rush of the falls, the quiet strength of the fish's heartbeat. It was more than just paint on canvas. It was an experience, a moment of connection. You noticed the way the light played across the scales, each one a tiny masterpiece in itself. The artist had paid such careful attention to detail, capturing the essence of the koi's spirit. It was a testament to the power of art, its ability to transport you, to inspire you, to connect you to something larger than yourself. You felt a sense of peace settle over you, a quiet understanding. The koi was more than just a fish, it was a mirror, reflecting your own strength and determination back at you. You felt a kinship with the creature on the canvas, a shared understanding of the struggles and triumphs of life. Overhyped fish, a voice drawled, shattering the peaceful bubble you'd created. You startled, turning to see a young man leaning against the wall beside you. He was tall, with messy dark hair and eyes that seemed to hold a perpetual hint of amusement. He wasn't looking at you, but at the painting, a smirk playing on his lips. Your immediate reaction was annoyance. How dare he interrupt your moment of reflection with such a flippant remark? "It's not just a fish," you said, perhaps a little more sharply than you intended. He raised an eyebrow, finally turning his gaze to you. "Oh? And what profound meaning do you find in a swimming carp?" You bristled. "It's about resilience, about overcoming obstacles, about swimming against the current, even when it's difficult." You gestured towards the painting, trying to convey the depth of emotion it had stirred within you. "It's about finding beauty in struggle." He chuckled softly, shaking his head. "Or maybe it's just a painting someone made to look pretty. Sometimes, a fish is just a fish." His eyes held a teasing glint, as if he were deliberately trying to provoke you. You crossed your arms, determined not to let him ruin your appreciation of the artwork. You're being deliberately obtuse, you accused, your voice rising slightly. It's clear the artist intended to convey something more than just a pretty picture. He pushed himself off the wall, stepping closer. Is it? Or are you projecting your own feelings onto it? The smirk was still there, but there was something else in his eyes now, a spark of curiosity. He was no longer just mocking, he was engaging. And despite your initial annoyance, you found yourself strangely intrigued. So, you think every artist has some grand hidden message? He asked, tilting his head. That every brushstroke is laden with symbolism? Not every artist, no, you conceded, but some do. And this one, it feels deliberate. The way the koi is positioned, the ferocity of the water, it's not just random. Ferocity? He laughed, a low, rumbling sound. It's water. Water can't be ferocious. Figuratively, you retorted, rolling your eyes. You know what I mean. You felt your cheeks flush slightly, annoyed at his persistence. All right, he said, holding up his hands in mock surrender. I'll grant you the artist might have intended something, but isn't it possible you're seeing what you want to see? That you're projecting your own struggles onto this poor, unsuspecting fish? His words stung a little, hitting closer to home than you were comfortable with. Was he right? Were you just reading into the painting what you needed to see? You hesitated, unsure how to respond. He seemed to sense your uncertainty. Look, he said, his voice softening slightly, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just think sometimes we get so caught up in searching for hidden meanings that we forget to appreciate the simple beauty of things. The color, the texture, the skill. It's all there, even if there's no deeper message. He paused, studying your face. So, tell me. He continued, a playful glint returning to his eyes. Besides its supposed symbolism, what do you actually like about the painting? The challenge was clear. Could you appreciate the art without the added layer of meaning you'd initially assigned to it? You took a deep breath and looked again. The colors, you said slowly, focusing on the swirling blues and oranges. The way they blend together, yet still retain their own distinct vibrancy. And the light. The way it catches the scales of the koi, making it seem almost alive. You paused, considering. And the texture, you can almost feel the roughness of the water, the smoothness of the fish's skin. He nodded, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. Good, you're seeing it. You glanced at him, surprised. Seeing what? The painting itself, not just the story you've created around it. He gestured towards the next room. Come on, let's see if we can find something else to argue about. You hesitated. You should probably find your class, but something about his playful challenge, the way his eyes sparkled with amusement, made you want to stay. I really should get back to my group. You said, even as you found yourself moving towards the doorway. Art history class? He guessed correctly. They'll survive without you for a few more minutes. Besides, he added, a mischievous glint in his eye. Who knows what profound insights we might uncover in the next gallery? You laughed, shaking your head. Fine, you conceded. But if I fail my midterm, I'm blaming you. He grinned. Deal. Lead the way, art critic. And with that, you found yourself walking beside him, deeper into the labyrinthine museum, leaving the koi and its symbolism behind, at least for the moment. The air felt lighter, the possibilities endless. You still didn't know his name or anything about him, but you had a feeling this chance encounter was about to become something more. The next gallery was filled with portraits, each one a silent observer, watching as you and the stranger navigated the room. He continued to tease, but the tone had shifted. The mockery was gone, replaced with a playful curiosity. So, he said, stopping in front of a stern-looking woman in a lace collar, what's her story? Think she was secretly a pirate? You laughed. More likely a governess with a hidden passion for romance novels. Ah, a woman of hidden depths, he said, nodding thoughtfully. I approve. He paused, studying your face. What about you? What are your hidden depths? The question caught you off guard. You weren't used to such directness, especially from someone you just met. I don't know, you said, shrugging. I guess you'll have to find out. "Challenge accepted," he replied, his eyes sparkling. You moved on to the next portrait, a painting of a young man with a wistful expression. "What do you think he's sad about?" you asked. "Probably just realized he's stuck in a painting for eternity," he quipped. You chuckled. "Maybe he's missing someone." "Maybe," he conceded, his voice softening slightly. "Or maybe he's just waiting for the right person to come along and see him for who he really is." He looked at you then, his gaze lingering a moment longer than necessary. And in that moment, you felt a connection, a spark of something real. The portraits faded into the background. The only thing that mattered was the two of you, standing there, in the quiet gallery, surrounded by the silent stories of the past. The museum, you realized, was no longer just a place to look at art, it was a place where art could happen. The next hour passed in a blur of art and laughter. You discovered a shared love for Impressionism, debated the merits of abstract expressionism, and even found yourselves strangely drawn to a collection of ancient pottery. With each new exhibit, the conversation flowed more easily, the teasing becoming more affectionate, the silences less awkward. He asked about your major, your dreams for the future, your favorite color. You learned that he was a philosophy student, a lover of old books, and a surprisingly skilled amateur chef. He told you about his family, his anxieties, his secret desire to write a novel. You found yourself opening up in ways you hadn't expected, sharing thoughts and feelings you usually kept hidden. The museum, with its endless corridors and silent masterpieces, seemed to create a safe space, a world apart from the pressures and expectations of everyday life. As you walked, you noticed the way he paid attention to you, the way he listened intently when you spoke, the way his eyes seemed to sparkle with genuine interest. He made you feel seen, understood, appreciated. It was a feeling you hadn't experienced in a long time, a feeling that made your heart flutter with a nervous excitement. At one point, you stopped in front of a Monet, a hazy landscape of water lilies. "It's so peaceful," you murmured, lost in the soft colors. "Like you," he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. You turned to look at him, your heart pounding in your chest. He was standing close, his eyes locked on yours. For a moment, the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of you, bathed in the gentle light of the Monet. And in that moment, you knew that something had shifted, that this chance encounter had transformed into something deeper, something real. The spell was broken by a familiar voice calling your name. It was your professor, looking harried and slightly exasperated. "There you are. We've been looking all over for you. The bus is leaving in 15 minutes. Your heart sank. 15 minutes? It felt like you'd only just met him. You turned to the stranger, a look of apology on your face. "I have to go," you said, the words laced with regret. He nodded, a hint of understanding in his eyes. "Duty calls," he said with a wry smile. "But it was nice arguing with you, art critic." "It was nice arguing with you too," you replied, smiling back. You wished you had more time, that you could prolong this unexpected connection. As you turned to follow your professor, he reached out, his fingers brushing against your arm. "Wait," he said softly. He quickly scribbled something on a small piece of paper, folded it, and slipped it into the pocket of your coat. "In case you ever want to debate the merits of overhyped fish again," he murmured, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Then, before you could say anything, he turned and disappeared into the crowd, melting away like a figure in an impressionist painting. You watched him go, a mixture of disappointment and anticipation swirling within you. You knew you had to catch your bus, but a small part of you wanted to stay, to search for him amidst the throng of museum goers. But duty called, and with a sigh, you followed your professor, the folded piece of paper a secret treasure hidden in your pocket, a promise of something more to come. You glanced back once more, but he was gone. The museum suddenly felt vast and empty without him. The bus ride back to campus was a stark contrast to the magic of the museum. The murmur of classmates, once a comforting background noise, now felt intrusive. You stared out the window, replaying the events of the afternoon in your mind. His smile, his teasing, the way he'd looked at you in front of the Monet. You reached into your pocket, your fingers tracing the outline of the folded piece of paper. You resisted the urge to unfold it, wanting to savor the anticipation. It was a tangible reminder of the connection you'd made, a promise of something more to come. Back in your dorm room, the familiar surroundings felt different, imbued with a newfound sense of possibility. You changed into your pajamas, brewed a cup of tea, and settled onto your bed, the folded note lying on your nightstand like a precious jewel. Finally, you couldn't wait any longer. With trembling fingers, you unfolded the paper. Scrawled in messy handwriting were 2 lines: Liam and an email address. A simple gesture, yet it spoke volumes. It was an invitation, a chance to continue the conversation, to explore the connection that had sparked between you in the hushed halls of the museum. A smile spread across your face. Liam. The name suited him. It was strong, yet gentle, just like the man you'd met. You picked up your laptop, your fingers hovering over the keyboard. What to write? How to capture the essence of the afternoon, the spark of connection, the promise of something more. The cursor blinked, waiting for you to begin. The possibilities, like the corridors of the museum, stretched out before you, endless and exciting. You took a deep breath and began to type. I believe that key point has already been fulfilled in the previous response. Here's a quick explanation. Key point 9. Class reunion. You finally find your classmates again, signaling the end of your time together. This was addressed when the professor found you and announced the bus was leaving, signaling the end of your time with Liam at the museum. The following text focused on the aftermath of that reunion and the email you sent. Therefore, I will proceed to the next key point. Please let me know if you'd like me to elaborate on the class reunion aspect further. It seems there might be another misunderstanding. Key point 10. A secret note. He slips a folded note into your coat pocket and disappears into the crowd, was also already covered in a previous response. This occurred when the professor interrupted and Liam gave you the note before leaving. Therefore, I will proceed to the next key point, if there is one, or conclude the story if all points have been addressed. Please advise. Again, it seems we've already covered this point. Key point 11. The discovery, later alone, you unfold the note to find his name and email address, was explicitly described in a prior response when you returned to your dorm and read the note. Since all listed key points have now been addressed within the story, I will conclude the narrative. Is this correct?